Well, you saw the first part of the video unboxing the fuel pressure gauge by Glow Shift. So today I'm going to install it, and it's going to be a fairly easy install. I just want to show you one component that you may want to get that's going to make this install a lot easier than if you don't have it. And also it's very handy if you want to add other electronic components to your RV. They're inexpensive and they're very, very easy to work with. So let me show you what I've got here. This little baby here is called an ADA circuit, and I've got a link for it on Amazon. You can order one or you can order a bunch. They have different vendors with different amounts and different prices. But basically, this plugs in to your fuse box depending on what type fuses you have. All right, and Rufus, stop barking. And this right here is where you put your original fuse that was in the fuse box and also the fuse for the circuit that you're adding. Really, really nice little gadget. I've used them before. I love them. I can't recommend it highly enough. Just like don't get a dog if you're going to do videos, because I can recommend that also. You can hear Rufus. Always barks at the most inopportune time. So, alright, so I showed you that. Now let me show you what else we got going. As you can see, I've got the seat out of the rig so I can work in there. It's very, very difficult to work on the rig underneath the dashboard if you don't pull the seat out. The other interesting thing is that when they built the rig, whoever put that seat in must have used a impact wrench cranked up to the highest possible setting. They stripped all 4 bolts and sucked the bolts right into the steel. It was amazing. Some guy was not having a good day and wanted the rest of the world to know it. He really, really made a mess out of that. It took me a whole day to get those bolts out by myself. So let's see what we have under here. There's my fuse box. There's some wires, and there's a couple of those ADA circuits that I've already put in. One of them is for the CB radio. I am actually going to put the gauge on the same circuit with the CB radio. Okay, I can't let go of the camera. There's just not enough room here. And the other one that's just dangling there is where the other wire is going to go from the gauge. One requires 12 volts constantly, and the other one requires 12 volts only when the ignition is turned on. So, that's that. Let me get to it, and I'll show it to you when we're done. Okay, guys, I finally got the part that I was waiting for, and this is the unit that fits over the Schrader valve. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but there's actually the pin that's going to push down on the Schrader valve that's on the fuel rail. And it's hard to see, but it's there if you look real hard. Okay, so this is the part that goes on the fuel rail. This is the part that's going to receive the sensor unit that I got from Glow Shift. This part came from Performance Fuel, and it was like 20 some odd dollars, and it's specifically made for the fuel Schrader valve on an F53 or a Ford product. Okay, so I'll put a link for it down below in case you want to get one. This is how it's going to look when it's put together. Alright, the black and silver part is the sensor from Glow Shift, and the blue part is the adapter. I'm going to put a little Teflon tape on there, and I'm going to put a little Teflon tape on the Schrader valve as is recommended by the manufacturer. And then the actual gauge is going to plug into this plastic part right here where you can see the pins where it's going to receive the plug. Alright, so let me get that to you going. It's a little crowded to film and do all the work at once, so I'll show you after I put it together. Okay guys, I just want to show you what we've got here. I've got my sensor mounted onto the adapter for the Schrader valve, you can see right here. Alright, and it turned out that I was only able to use Teflon tape on the sensor portion that screws into the adapter. The Schrader valve itself is located in such a hard place to get to that I wasn't able to use Teflon tape. So I used a high quality pipe thread sealant, and then I let it set overnight after I put the adapter on. So that should make a very good seal, probably better than the Teflon tape. I've checked it numerous times, turning on the key, getting fuel pressure. There are no leaks, so I'm satisfied and confident that that's going to be fine. Also, I've run my wire along where it's out of the way of heat and out towards the front of the engine and down and then back up over here by the steering column. That's it for right now. I'm tired. I know it doesn't look like much work, but hey, for an old fart like me, it took a little effort. Very uncomfortable positions, you know, a little redesigning and such, so we got it done. Next thing to do is I'm putting the Doghouse back on. I've routed the wires all the way up to where the gauge is going to be. And I think I'm going to put it, in this RV there was a place for a backup monitor which was never ordered with the RV. So there's a little spot there with a door and a compartment that's worth nothing. So I'm going to mount it on that little door, and that way I'll be able to service the gauge if I have to. And I'll show you all that when it's done. But for now, I'm going to reinstall the Doghouse and put my seat back in, and we should be good to go. So I'll see you in a little bit when I get that drill bit that I need to make the hole in the door. I need a 2-inch hole saw, so I got one coming from Amazon, and I will share that link with you also. Alright guys, see you in a little bit. Okay guys, I finally got the hole saw from Amazon that I was waiting on so I could finish my fuel pressure gauge install. So let me show you what I've got here, and let me kind of give you an idea how it works, okay? Alrighty, here's the hole saw. This one here is by Porter and Cable. And I got it on Amazon, as I mentioned, and look at the price up there. It says like up to $40. I don't know about that. Crazy, huh? I actually paid $8 on Amazon. And this one here is a 7-piece. There's 6 cutting blades, and then the drill and the part that goes into the drill. Okay, and the sizes are 1 inch, 1 1/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, and 2 inch. I needed the 2 inch, and believe it or not, it was cheaper to buy this than it was just a 2-inch saw. So let me show you how it goes together. All right, I'll put one together, and I'll show you how it works. Alrighty, so here we are. Here's the hole saw itself. All right, this is the 2-inch one. And here is the drill bit, okay, and the part that's right here, this collar that fits in to the saw, you can see that that's kind of like oblong there. You want to make sure that you get that to fit the right way, otherwise the saw will spin when you're using it. So that's how that should go. And then we're going to put this piece here on top, and that's what's going to hold everything tight together. Okay, and that's basically it. You can tighten it with a wrench if you want, but the material that I'm going to cut through is very, very soft, so I don't really need to make it ultra tight. This is going to fit into the drill, and this is going to center on the center point of where you want to make the hole. Now I know this is going to kind of sound like really silly to have to tell you this, but when you drill a hole with a hole saw like this one, you want to make sure that your first attempt you pick the correct size of the saw. Alright, the reason being is that what holds the rest of the saw true and steady when you're making the cut is this drill bit. When it penetrates the material, it's going to keep this from going back and forth like this. Alright, otherwise you're going to get a really nasty cut. And you're probably thinking, oh, I can hold that. No, you can't. When this thing starts spinning and those teeth start grabbing, you're not going to be able to hold it. So let's just say that I was a 1/2 inch too small on the hole. Well, that would mean that my hole would be almost as big as this saw, but a ½ inch smaller. I would have no place to put this bit to guide the rest of the saw through. So that's about the only important thing about using a hole saw right there. Also, it's going to grab, the thicker the material, it's going to grab a lot, so hold on to your drill firmly. And as I say, I didn't spend a ton of money on a hole saw, but I got this whole set of 6 saws for about $8, and I'll put the link below. Very handy little thing if you're ever going to run other wires or plumbing, stuff like that. This can make the job really nice. So let me stop yapping, because you know how I am when I get yapping, all right? And let me show you where we're going to put this, this gauge and how we're going to cut the hole, okay? Don't go away. We have some really bad lighting here, but I just want to give you an idea where I'm going to be putting this. Right here, this panel, underneath this panel is where the backup camera for this vehicle was supposed to be if it was ordered. So if you open it, it's not a very useful cabinet, and right now you can see I have the gauge just laying in there. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this door and actually punch a hole in it right here. And actually I may put the hole up a little higher, but because what I'm going to do is add some either USB chargers here or just a 12-volt sockets or something, because I don't want to waste this whole panel for one gauge. So I believe that's what I'll do. And we'll start off today by just punching a hole in there for the gauge, and then possibly drilling the other ones when I find exactly what I want to put in there. So that's that. Don't go away, and we'll get started. Okay guys, there it is. The gauge has been installed. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn the key on, which is going to turn the fuel pump on, and we should see the gauge calibrate itself and then go to the fuel pressure reading. That reading will be the same as when the engine is idling, hopefully. So let's give her a rip. Alright, here we go. We're going to turn the key to the on position. And there's the gauge calibrating. And there is our fuel pressure now. The pump is off again now. The computer turned it off, but it's ready to start. So let's start it. And there we go. We're holding steady, and that 31 is right within spec. So let's give it a little bit of gas. Still holding, slight increase. Awesome, right where we want it. Let's give it a little bit of wide open throttle. Perfect. As long as it doesn't drop, we're good. Now under load, at wide open throttle, that's probably going to go up to 40. And the way I know it's going to do that is because on the fuel pressure regulator with the engine at idle, I had previously taken off the vacuum line, and that increases the fuel pressure all the way up to 40. And when I'm running down the road under load, that's probably the reading that I am going to get. So I'm very happy with the way this is working. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry it took so long to put together, but waiting for the parts made it a little more difficult than normal. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. And you know what? Don't forget to be happy, okay? And guess what? Rufus is right here with me doing this whole job. Let's take a look. Say hello, Ruf. Come on, say howdy. You don't want to say howdy? Never leaves my side, that little boy. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.